Stop what you're doing. Right now, this isn't just another video about your sign, Libra. It's a cosmic wake-up call aimed specifically at you. Something extraordinary is forming in the energetic field around you, a change so profound and irreversible that it will completely transform how you position yourself in the world and in your relationships. Have you been feeling that growing restlessness lately? That subtle feeling that you're distancing yourself from certain people, situations, and even parts of your own identity that you've always considered essential. It's not your imagination, not a passing phase either. It's the beginning of a powerful metamorphosis that's about to accelerate dramatically in your life. The astral configurations are creating a portal of transformation specifically for Libra. And here's the thing. Not everyone around you will have the ability to keep up with the person you're about to become. The crucial question I need you to answer honestly is, are you willing to embrace this inevitable evolution? Even though you know that some loved ones may not be able to follow your journey. Let me tell you a story. Last week, I was consulting with a Libra client. Let's call her Sarah. She'd been married for 15 years, comfortable in her routine, but something had shifted. She couldn't put her finger on it at first. "I feel like I'm suffocating," she told me, tears in her eyes. "But I don't understand why." That's exactly what's happening to you right now. What I'm about to share goes beyond a simple astrological prediction. It's a revelation about a decisive turning point in your life path. In the next few minutes, I will detail exactly what's triggering this transformation, how it will manifest in your daily reality, and most importantly, how you can consciously navigate this process instead of being swept up in it. This change is not optional. It's written in the stars and has already been activated in your energy field. The only choice you really have, whether you'll resist, causing unnecessary suffering, or whether you'll flow with this cosmic current, allowing it to lift you to a new level of authenticity and personal power. What makes this time particularly intense for Librans is that for the first time in decades, their ruler Venus is forming simultaneous aspects with Pluto and Uranus, the planets of profound transformation and sudden change. This rare configuration is unlocking aspects of your true essence that have laid dormant for years, perhaps even lifetimes. Your natural desire for harmony and balance will be put to the test. You'll begin to recognize which relationships in your life are genuinely reciprocal and which are just energetic drains disguised as meaningful connections. Are you ready to see the truth about each person in your life, even if that truth challenges everything you believed about those relationships? I remember another client, Marcus, a Libra who'd been the family peacekeeper his entire life, always smoothing over conflicts, always making excuses for his brother's toxic behavior. When this energy hit him, he finally said no. His family was shocked. Some called him selfish, but Marcus, he felt free for the first time in 40 years. Experienced astrologers are observing with amazement the rare configuration forming in the sky at this time, directly affecting Libra's energy field. Your ruler Venus is forming a dynamic aspect with Pluto, the planet of profound transformation, while simultaneously receiving the revolutionary influence of Uranus through a trine. This combination of energies creates what ancient masters called a transmutation portal, a rare moment when your vibrational frequency can literally jump to a higher octave. May carries the vibration of the number 5, representing change, freedom, and breaking limitations. Exactly what's happening in your life right now. Ancient esoteric traditions have always identified Libra as the sign of social initiation, one who learns the deepest lessons through relationships. And now, with Mars transiting your house of transformation, an unusual courage is being activated within you. The courage to finally prioritize your truth above the approval of others. Mystics know that when Venus and Pluto dance in this way, social masks begin to fall, revealing the true nature of every connection in your life. It's as if the veil of illusion is being lifted, allowing you to see with crystal clarity who is truly vibrating in resonance with your authentic self, and who is merely connected to the persona you created to please others. Do you notice how your relationships have already started to subtly change in the last few weeks? Can you identify that growing feeling of discomfort when you're with certain people? like you're wearing clothes that no longer fit. I know you've been struggling internally with a growing sense of misalignment, especially in your closest relationships. That subtle discomfort. That feeling that something isn't fitting like it used to, even with people who have always been central to your life. Don't ignore these signs. They are the beginning of the great recalibration that's taking place within your being. As a Libra, you naturally value harmony and often sacrifice your own truth to maintain it. For years, perhaps even decades, you have been adjusting your frequency to accommodate the needs and expectations of others, often at the expense of your own authenticity. This pattern of over-adaptation, which has always seemed necessary to maintain balance in your relationships, is now being challenged by the universe itself. The tension you feel, it's the friction between who you really are and who you've been pretending to be to keep the peace. Cherish this growing awareness. It's the first step towards your liberation. The truth is that your natural sensitivity to harmony is a superpower when directed correctly, but it becomes a prison when used to suppress your own truth. Current discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's evidence that you're finally awakening to a more authentic way of existing. Your choices are no longer guided solely by the desire for external approval, but by a growing drive to honor your internal compass. You're beginning to understand that true harmony doesn't come from pleasing others, but from living in alignment with your own essence. And here's the question you need to face. What would you do differently in your relationships if you were no longer afraid of being displeased or abandoned? Think about it. Really think about it. It's essential that you understand the magnitude of what's happening. This transformation that has begun in your energy field is not a superficial or temporary change. It's a complete recalibration of your vibrational frequency. And here's the truth that few will have the courage to tell you. Not everyone in your life will have the ability to adapt to the person you're becoming. The transformation that's occurring is not just about you, it's about the entire relational system that you've built over the years. When you fundamentally change, all of your connections are forced to readjust. Some people will grow along with you, celebrating your evolution and finding new ways to connect with your most authentic self. Others will feel threat, resistance, or even resentment at the new energy you're emanating. This is an inevitable cosmic law. When your frequency changes, everything and everyone around you must respond to that change in some way. The window of transformation that has opened for Libra is so rare and powerful that it only occurs once every 84 years at this specific intensity. The last time we saw a similar configuration was in 1941, a time that also marked profound reconfigurations in social and relational structures. For Libras born between September 23rd and October 3rd, this transformation will manifest itself primarily through a complete re-evaluation of their core values and how they're reflected in their daily choices. You'll begin to notice glaring discrepancies between what you say you value and how you actually live. For those born between October 4th and October 13th, the focus of transmutation will be on your most intimate relationships, romantic partnerships, close friendships, and family connections. Inconvenient truths that have been ignored for years will come to light, forcing difficult but necessary conversations. And for those born between October 14th and 22nd, this transformative energy will mainly affect your social and professional identity, revealing where you've compromised your authenticity to guarantee acceptance or status. This differentiated cosmic attention is happening now because you've finally reached the level of spiritual maturity necessary to integrate these lessons without being completely destabilized by them. The universe never sends us challenges we don't have the ability to overcome, although it often sends us exactly what we need to grow beyond our comfort zones. When changes begin to accelerate in your life, and they certainly will, don't resist. Resistance only intensifies friction and suffering. When was the last time you allowed a complete transformation into your life without trying to control every detail of the process? There's a profound reason why this wave of transformation is hitting Libras specifically right now. In each major cycle of collective evolution, different signs are activated to embody and transmit specific qualities necessary for the next stage of development. At this critical time in human history, where authenticity and personal integrity are becoming more important than ever, Libra is being called to evolve from its pattern of over-adaptation to a state of authentic balance. You're no longer here to just create external harmony at any cost. Your mission is evolving to demonstrate how true balance comes when we honor our inner truth while relating to others. For Libras in the first decan, September 23rd to October 3rd, this transformation is directly linked to the need to reevaluate their fundamental values and how they're reflected in their everyday choices. The universe is showing you where there's an inconsistency between what you say you value and how you actually live your life. For those in the second decan, October 4th to 13th, the focus is on your most significant relationships and how they can evolve to accommodate your most authentic expression. Some connections will deepen, while others will naturally dissolve to make room for new, more aligned alliances. And for those in the third decan, October 14th to 22nd, transformation is centered around your public identity and life purpose. You're being called to present your true self to the world without the social masks you've worn for so long. The cosmic energy that's heading towards you now is not just for your personal evolution. You're being prepared to model a new form of balance and harmony for those around you. For ages, Libra has been known as the mediator, the peacemaker, the one who makes concessions to keep the peace. Now you're evolving into a more mature role, that of facilitator of authentic truth, showing how genuine relationships arise not from the suppression of conflict, but from the courage to be truthful. Have you noticed how recently you feel less inclined to agree just to avoid disagreement? Do you notice how your tolerance for unbalanced relationships has drastically decreased? These are signs that your spirit is aligning with your current evolutionary mission. As this transformation begins to accelerate in your life, and the signs are already appearing, there are 3 essential principles you must follow to consciously navigate the process. First, practice radical honesty with yourself. Before every important interaction, pause and ask, what do I really feel here? What do I really want to say? This simple yet profound practice will begin to realign your outer expression with your inner truth. Second, let go of the need to control the response of others. Your only responsibility is to communicate your truth with clarity and compassion. How others react to this is not in your control. This is perhaps the most challenging lesson for a Libra, but also the most freeing. Third, allow relationships to evolve naturally. Some people will grow with you, others will move away temporarily or permanently. Trust that each movement is serving the greater purpose of your evolution and the evolution of everyone involved. Those who are able to consciously navigate these relational transformations often report that after an initial period of turbulence and apparent loss, they experience a level of authentic connection they've never known before. It's as if the universe is clearing the ground so that truly reciprocal relationships can flourish in your life. The people who stick around through this transition will be those who truly resonate with your authentic self, not just the persona you've constructed to please others. And here's the divine irony of this situation. By letting go of your compulsive need to keep everyone satisfied, you'll finally attract relationships that genuinely nourish your soul. Can you already identify who in your life is responding positively to the subtle changes that have already begun to occur in the way you express yourself? What's happening now is just the beginning of a transformative 18-month cycle that will completely redefine your approach to relationships. The change that began as an internal whisper will become progressively more evident in your external reality. During this period, you'll experience unprecedented clarity about who you truly are and what you truly want to create in your life. The social masks you've worn for so long, perhaps without even realizing they were masks, will begin to dissolve, revealing your true essence. For many Libras, this cycle will mark the end of a long period of internal confusion about their own identity. Instead of being a social chameleon, constantly adjusting your behavior to please others, you'll begin to experience the freedom of consistently being yourself in all contexts of your life. The revelations that will emerge during this period are not isolated events. They're like pieces of a puzzle that, when put together, will reveal a completely new picture of who you are and what you're capable of. Every challenging interaction, every difficult conversation, every moment of uncomfortable truth is part of a larger mosaic being built in your life. For those who resist this process, the experience will be significantly more turbulent. The energy of transformation cannot be blocked. It will find a way out, whether through conscious acceptance or through crises that force change. Are you prepared to consciously embrace this transformation, even though you know it will challenge some of your most fundamental beliefs about yourself and how relationships should work? What makes this transformation particularly powerful for Libra is the fact that it directly impacts your core of identity, the way you define yourself through your connections with others. For a long time, you possibly measured your worth by the feedback you received from those around you, constantly adjusting your behavior to maximize approval and minimize conflict. This pattern, although it served a purpose on its journey, has reached its evolutionary limit. The universe is showing you that there's a higher form of harmony, one that arises not from the suppression of differences, but from the authentic expression of all parties involved. The synchronicities you'll experience in the coming months will not be random coincidences. They'll be targeted signs showing you exactly where you need to direct your attention to continue this process of transformation. Pay special attention to recurring dreams, to people who appear by chance at critical moments, and to situations that seem to test exactly those aspects of your personality that are in the process of transformation. The universe is creating a personalized curriculum for your evolution, bringing exactly the experiences you need to grow. Libra, you're on the threshold of the most significant and liberating phase of your evolutionary journey. This unfolding transformation is not a crisis to be feared, but an initiation to be celebrated. While other signs experience different forms of growth during this period, yours is especially profound because it redefines the very essence of how you relate to yourself and the world. This is not a time for fear or resistance, but for courage and conscious surrender. The change that's occurring is not happening to diminish or punish you, but to release aspects of your true essence that have been suppressed for too long. The discomfort you cause is a sign that your presence has strength, Libra. The discomfort you will cause in some people this weekend. It's not your fault, it's just the consequence of your awakening. You're more truthful now, more connected with your purpose. That's why you're more dangerous for those who fed on your doubt, your fear, and your misinterpreted kindness. This discomfort is proof that you're no longer manipulable, that your energy is becoming a shield, and whoever doesn't respect you in silence will begin to fear your absence. You have within you all the wisdom you need to navigate this transformation. Trust your natural discernment, your innate ability to perceive nuances and balance different perspectives. The universe wouldn't put you on this path if you didn't have exactly the qualities necessary to walk it successfully. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Other Libras around the world are experiencing variations of this same transmutation, creating an invisible network of energetic support. Together, you're redefining what it means to be Libra in this new era, no longer the sign that sacrifices authenticity for peace, but the one that demonstrates how true harmony arises from the courage to be genuine. The energy that's moving through your being at this time is redefining your relationship to balance, no longer as something you create externally, at the expense of your inner truth, but as a natural state that emerges when you're completely aligned with your essence. The synchronicities that arise in your life in the coming months will serve as confirmations that you're on the right path, following the natural flow of your evolution. Don't ignore these signs. Each one contains an important message about the direction your life is heading. What will you do with this new freedom when you finally free yourself from the invisible chains that have limited your authentic expression? If this resonates deeply with you, that's no coincidence. It's further confirmation that you're in tune with the transformative energies moving through your life. The changes have already begun to manifest themselves in your life. Are you paying attention to the signs? Now tell me, are you ready to let go of old masks and relationships that no longer resonate with who you really are, making space for genuine connections that reflect and celebrate your most authentic expression? The choice is yours, Libra. But know this, the universe is on your side, and this transformation is your birthright. The question isn't whether it will happen. The question is, will you embrace it consciously and gracefully, or will you resist until circumstances force your hand? Your authentic self is waiting, and the world needs what only you can offer when you're being completely, unapologetically you. But there's something else happening that most astrologers won't tell you about. Something darker, more complex, and ultimately more transformative than anything we've discussed so far. This cosmic shift isn't just about embracing your light, it's about integrating your shadow. For years, Libra, you've been the diplomat, the peacemaker, the one who swallows their anger to maintain harmony. But where do you think all that suppressed frustration has gone? It hasn't disappeared. It's been accumulating in your unconscious, creating what psychologists call a shadow self, all the parts of you that you've deemed unacceptable or dangerous to express. The current Venus-Pluto conjunction isn't just awakening your authentic self, it's forcing you to confront every emotion you've ever pushed aside, every truth you've ever silenced, every boundary you've never set. This is why the transformation feels so intense, so overwhelming at times. You're not just changing, you're integrating aspects of yourself you've spent a lifetime avoiding. Let me paint you a picture of what your shadow looks like. It's the part of you that's tired of always being the nice one. It's the rage you feel when someone takes advantage of your generosity for the 100th time. It's the judgment you pass on others while maintaining your diplomatic facade. It's the manipulative tendencies you've developed to get your needs met indirectly, because you were never taught it was okay to ask directly. Your shadow is also your fierce protectiveness, your ability to cut through illusion with surgical precision, your capacity for righteous anger when injustice occurs. These aren't negative qualities. They're essential aspects of your wholeness that you've been taught to suppress. I had a Libra client, let's call her Diana, who came to me in tears because she'd had what she called a complete breakdown at work. Her colleague had once again taken credit for her ideas in a meeting, and instead of her usual diplomatic response, she'd exploded. She called him out publicly, defended herself fiercely, and refused to back down when he tried to gaslight her. "I don't recognize myself," she told me. "I'm not this kind of person." But here's what I told Diana, and what I'm telling you now, that wasn't a breakdown. That was a breakthrough. That was her shadow integration beginning, her suppressed authentic power finally demanding to be acknowledged. The universe is showing you that your lifelong commitment to keeping the peace has come at a tremendous cost. You've become an expert at reading rooms, at sensing what others need from you, at shape-shifting to fit into whatever role would cause the least disruption. But in doing so, you've lost touch with your own center, your own truth, your own non-negotiable values. This is why relationships have begun to feel so uncomfortable. Your shadow self, your authentic power, is no longer willing to be silenced. It's creating internal friction every time you default to your old patterns of accommodation and people-pleasing. The question isn't whether you should integrate your shadow. The cosmic forces at play have already decided that for you. The question is whether you'll do it consciously, with awareness and intention, or whether it will happen through crisis and conflict. What's happening in your life right now is what ancient alchemists called the sacred marriage, the union of opposites within yourself. Your light and shadow, your diplomatic nature and your fierce protectiveness, your desire for harmony and your need for authentic expression, all of these seemingly contradictory aspects are being forced into conscious relationship with each other. This is why you've been experiencing such internal tension. These different parts of yourself are negotiating a new way of being, a more integrated way of showing up in the world. It's uncomfortable because you're literally rewiring decades of conditioning. But here's the beautiful truth. Once this integration is complete, you'll possess a kind of power and authenticity that few people ever achieve. You'll be able to maintain harmony without sacrificing truth. You'll be diplomatic without being dishonest. You'll be kind without being a pushover. I need to prepare you for what I call the relationship apocalypse, a period where every significant relationship in your life will be tested by your emerging authenticity. The word apocalypse doesn't mean destruction. It means revelation, unveiling, the lifting of the veil. Your relationships are about to be revealed for what they truly are. Some connections you thought were solid will crumble under the weight of your new honesty. Others you assumed were superficial will deepen into something profound and meaningful. People you've never been particularly close to might suddenly emerge as kindred spirits who recognize and celebrate your authentic self. This revelation process is already underway. Have you noticed how some people seem uncomfortable around you lately, even when you haven't done anything obviously different? They're sensing the energetic shift in you before it's even fully conscious to you. Your growing authenticity is like a tuning fork. It's causing everyone around you to vibrate at their own true frequency, and not everyone likes what they discover about themselves in that process. What you're experiencing is actually an ancient initiation, one that every Libra must go through to claim their true power. In esoteric traditions, Libra is associated with the scales of justice, but also with the sword that cuts through illusion. You're being initiated into both aspects of your sign. For too long, you've only embodied the scales, constantly weighing and balancing, trying to find the perfect equilibrium that would keep everyone happy. But now you're being called to pick up the sword, to cut through pretense, to sever connections that no longer serve, to slice away the parts of yourself that were never truly you. This is why the process feels so violent sometimes, so disruptive. You're not just changing, you're being dismantled and rebuilt from the ground up. Every belief you've held about yourself, every assumption about how relationships should work, every strategy you've used to navigate the world, all of it is being examined and either integrated or discarded. I know your deepest fear right now is that if you show up authentically, if you stop being the eternal accommodator, if you set real boundaries and speak uncomfortable truths, people will leave you. This fear runs so deep in Libra because your identity has been so intertwined with your relationships for so long. But here's what the cosmic forces are trying to teach you. The people who would abandon you for being authentic were never truly connected to you in the first place. They were connected to your performance, your service, your ability to make their lives easier or more comfortable. Losing those connections isn't a loss, it's a liberation. The space that opens up when these inauthentic connections dissolve is sacred space. It's where your true tribe will find you, people who love you, not for what you do for them, but for who you are when you're not trying to be anything for anyone. Over the next few months, you'll enter what I call the mirror phase of this transformation. Every person you encounter, every situation you find yourself in, will act as a mirror, reflecting back some aspect of your integration process. Pay attention to who irritates you most right now. They're likely showing you a disowned aspect of yourself, either something you've suppressed or something you've over-identified with. The people who trigger your anger are often reflecting your own shadow back to you, while those who inspire your admiration are showing you potentials you're ready to embrace. This mirror phase is crucial for your development because it's showing you exactly where your work lies. Every emotional reaction is information. Every conflict is an invitation to greater self-awareness. Every moment of discomfort is pointing you toward an aspect of yourself that needs integration. One of the most significant changes you'll experience is a complete revolution in your energetic boundaries. For most of your life, you've been what empaths call a psychic sponge, absorbing the emotions, expectations, and energies of everyone around you. This is actually a Libra superpower, but you've been using it unconsciously, and it's been draining you. The current cosmic configuration is teaching you how to maintain your empathic abilities while protecting your own energetic integrity. You're learning to sense others without absorbing them, to understand without taking on, to be compassionate without being consumed. This new way of being will initially feel foreign, even selfish. You might worry that you're becoming cold or uncaring, but what's actually happening is that you're learning to love from a place of fullness rather than emptiness, to give from choice rather than compulsion. This internal shift will inevitably impact your professional life as well. Many Libras find themselves questioning their career choices during this transit, not because they've chosen poorly, but because they've chosen based on what they thought others expected of them, rather than what truly calls to their soul. You might find yourself drawn to work that involves justice, mediation, counseling, or creative expression in ways you never considered before. Or you might discover that your current work can be transformed by bringing more of your authentic self to it, by no longer playing it safe or trying to be who you think others want you to be. The key is to notice what energizes you versus what drains you. Your authentic career path will feel like flowing downstream rather than swimming against the current. It will challenge you without depleting you, stretch you without breaking you. Your body has been keeping score of all the times you've silenced your truth, swallowed your anger, or twisted yourself into shapes that weren't natural for you. Many Libras experience physical symptoms during this transformation: headaches, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, or chronic fatigue. These aren't just stress responses, they're your body's way of releasing decades of stored tension and suppressed emotion. Your physical form is literally recalibrating itself to match your new energetic frequency. This is why self-care becomes crucial during this period, but not the surface-level kind you might be used to. You need deep nourishment, time in nature, creative expression, physical movement that feels good rather than punitive, and most importantly, the rest that comes from finally being able to relax into your authentic self. The most profound aspect of this transformation is how it's affecting your relationship with power itself. For most of your life, you've associated power with aggression, dominance, or control, qualities that seemed antithetical to your Libra nature. So you've given your power away, piece by piece, relationship by relationship, thinking that powerlessness was somehow more virtuous, more loving, more spiritual. But the universe is showing you a different kind of power now, authentic power that comes not from dominating others, but from being so aligned with your truth that you become unshakable. This power doesn't need to announce itself or prove itself, it simply is. And it's been dormant within you your entire life, waiting for this moment of cosmic activation. You're beginning to understand that your lifelong pattern of accommodation wasn't actually about love or kindness, it was about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as difficult or demanding. You've been so afraid of your own strength that you've hidden it even from yourself, convincing yourself that your self-sacrifice was noble when it was actually a form of self-abandonment. This realization might be one of the most difficult aspects of your current transformation. It means acknowledging that many of your most loving behaviors were actually fear-based responses designed to ensure your acceptance and approval. It means recognizing that your chronic people-pleasing has enabled others to avoid taking responsibility for their own emotional regulation and growth. The guilt you might feel about this recognition is normal, but it's also misplaced. You weren't consciously manipulating or deceiving anyone. You were operating from unconscious programming that was installed in you long before you had the awareness to question it. Now you do have that awareness, and with it comes the responsibility to choose differently. One of the most shocking discoveries you'll make during this period is how much unconscious resentment you've been carrying. For years, you've been telling yourself and others that you're happy to help, pleased to accommodate, fine with putting your needs last. But deep in your psyche, a different truth has been accumulating: anger at being taken for granted, frustration at being undervalued, rage at having your contributions overlooked or minimized. This suppressed anger isn't pretty, and it's not diplomatic, and it certainly doesn't fit your image of yourself as the harmonious Libra. But it's real, it's valid, and it's been eating away at your life force for longer than you care to admit. The current cosmic configuration is bringing this shadow emotion to the surface, not to destroy you, but to liberate you. Your anger is actually information. It's telling you where your boundaries have been violated, where your value has been dismissed, where your authentic self has been suppressed. Instead of judging this anger or trying to spiritual bypass it away, you're being asked to listen to its message and use it as fuel for necessary changes. I had another client, Marcus, who experienced this anger eruption in a profound way. He'd been the family golden child, the one everyone turned to for emotional support and practical help. He was proud of this role until the anger hit him like a tidal wave during a family gathering. For the first time in 43 years, he said no to a request for help. The family's shock and disappointment were palpable, but Marcus felt something he'd never experienced before, the solid ground of his own integrity beneath his feet. The energy moving through your life right now is also awakening what ancient mystics called your sacred rage, the fierce protective love that arises when truth is being violated or innocence is being harmed. This isn't petty anger or personal vendetta. This is the righteous fury that drives social justice movements, that topples corrupt systems, that stands up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. Your sacred rage might manifest as a sudden inability to tolerate gossip, manipulation, or passive-aggressive behavior. You might find yourself speaking up in situations where you would have previously remained silent. You might discover that you're no longer willing to pretend that harmful behavior is acceptable just to keep the peace. This new relationship with your anger and power will inevitably change how you move through the world professionally. Many Libras in this transformation phase find themselves gravitating toward careers or roles that involve advocacy, mediation, counseling, or creative expression, anything that allows them to use their natural diplomatic gifts while honoring their newfound commitment to truth and justice. If you're in a career that requires you to suppress your authentic voice or compromise your values, you'll likely find it increasingly unbearable. The paycheck might be good, the benefits might be attractive, but if the work doesn't align with your evolving sense of purpose, your soul will reject it with increasing intensity. This professional restlessness isn't a sign that you're being ungrateful or unrealistic. It's your inner guidance system, recalibrating to match your new frequency. Your work needs to be an expression of your authentic self, not a place where you go to hide from it. The transformation in your relationship with money and resources is equally significant. As a people-pleasing Libra, you've likely undervalued your contributions, undercharged for your services, or given away your time and energy for free because you felt guilty asking for fair compensation. This pattern is rooted in a deep-seated belief that your worth is tied to your usefulness to others rather than your inherent value as a human being. The current cosmic shifts are dismantling this belief system and helping you recognize that honoring your worth through appropriate boundaries and fair exchange is actually an act of service to everyone involved. When you undervalue yourself, you teach others to undervalue you too. When you give from a place of depletion rather than abundance, you create relationships based on rescuing and being rescued rather than mutual respect and reciprocity. Your new relationship with your own worth will inevitably upgrade the quality of all your relationships. Another profound shift happening during this period is in your relationship with time and energy. You're beginning to recognize that these are your most precious resources, and you're becoming much more discerning about how you spend them. Activities, commitments, and relationships that used to feel manageable now feel draining because you're no longer willing to operate from a place of depletion. This isn't selfishness, it's stewardship. You're learning to be a good steward of your own life force so that you can show up more fully and authentically in the relationships and commitments that truly matter to you. Quality over quantity is becoming your new operating principle. The people in your life will notice these changes before you're even fully conscious of implementing them. They might comment that you seem different, more grounded, less available for drama or crisis management. Some will appreciate this evolution, others might feel threatened by it. Your new energetic boundaries will act like a filter, naturally attracting people who resonate with your authentic frequency, while making it uncomfortable for those who were primarily connected to your old patterns of accommodation and people-pleasing. This natural selection process, while sometimes painful, is ultimately serving your highest good. As this transformation deepens, you'll begin to experience what I call authentic confidence, not the brittle defensive kind that comes from trying to prove your worth, but the quiet, unshakable kind that comes from knowing your worth. This confidence doesn't need external validation because it's sourced from your connection to your own truth rather than others' opinions of you. This authentic confidence will change everything about how you show up in relationships. You'll be able to love more deeply because you're not loving from a place of need or fear. You'll be able to give more generously because you're giving from choice rather than compulsion. You'll be able to receive more fully because you finally believe you deserve good things. The most beautiful aspect of this entire transformation is that it's preparing you to model a new way of being Libra in the world. Instead of the traditional Libra archetype of the eternal accommodator, you're becoming something far more powerful, the conscious mediator who can hold space for difficult truths, the authentic diplomat who can navigate conflict without losing their integrity, the balanced warrior who fights for justice while maintaining their humanity. Many Libras discover during this transformation that their spiritual beliefs and practices no longer fit either. Perhaps you've been following a spiritual path that emphasized self-sacrifice or transcending the ego in ways that actually encouraged you to bypass your authentic feelings and needs. Your spiritual awakening during this period will be grounded, embodied, and fiercely authentic. You're being called to a spirituality that includes your humanity rather than trying to escape it, that honors your emotions rather than transcending them, that sees your relationships as sacred laboratories for growth rather than distractions from enlightenment. This might mean leaving spiritual communities that don't support your full expression, questioning teachers who encourage bypassing, or developing a more personal, intuitive relationship with the divine that doesn't require you to be anything other than exactly who you are. Perhaps nowhere will your transformation be more challenging than within your family system. Families have unconscious roles and agreements, and yours has likely cast you as the harmonizer, the one who keeps everyone connected, the one who sacrifices their own needs for the good of the whole. When you begin to change these patterns, when you start setting boundaries and speaking your truth, it will create waves throughout the entire family system. Some members will try to pull you back into your old role through guilt, manipulation, or emotional appeals. Others might become angry or confused by your new way of being. This is perhaps the most difficult part of your transformation because family loyalty runs so deep for Libra. But remember, true loyalty sometimes requires disrupting dysfunctional patterns. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your family is to stop enabling their dysfunction by playing your assigned role. As you reclaim your authentic voice, you may find yourself drawn to creative expression in ways you haven't experienced since childhood. This isn't a coincidence. Creativity requires the same authenticity and willingness to be vulnerable that you're developing in other areas of your life. Whether it's writing, art, music, dance, or any other form of creative expression, allow yourself to explore without judgment. Your creativity during this period will be raw, honest, and potentially revolutionary. It will serve as both an outlet for your transformation and a mirror reflecting your growing authenticity. Don't worry about being good at whatever creative pursuit calls to you. The value isn't in the product, but in the process, the act of giving form to your inner truth, of expressing what has long been inexpressible. If you're in a romantic relationship, this transformation will test it like nothing ever has. Your partnership will either evolve to accommodate your authentic self, or it will end to make space for something more aligned with who you're becoming. If you're single, you might find that your standards have completely changed. People who would have attracted you before, perhaps because they seemed stable or safe or socially appropriate, no longer hold any appeal. You're being drawn to depth, authenticity, and emotional availability in ways that might surprise you. Your relationship to sexuality might also be transforming. Many Libras discover during this period that they've been performing sexually rather than truly expressing themselves, trying to be what they thought their partner wanted, rather than exploring their own desires and boundaries. Over the next several months, the universe will present you with a series of tests designed to see how committed you are to your new way of being. These won't be obvious tests. They'll come disguised as opportunities to slip back into your old patterns. Someone will need you to rescue them, and you'll have to choose between your old compulsion to save everyone and your new commitment to healthy boundaries. A situation will arise where you could easily lie or manipulate to avoid conflict, and you'll have to choose truth even if it's uncomfortable. People will try to guilt you into betraying yourself for their sake, and you'll have to choose your own integrity. Each time you choose authenticity over accommodation, boundaries over people-pleasing, truth over false peace, you're literally rewiring your neural pathways and strengthening your new way of being in the world. What you're experiencing, dear Libra, is nothing less than a complete death and rebirth. The person you've been, the eternal diplomat, the chronic people-pleaser, the one who disappeared into others' needs, that person is dying. And from those ashes, your authentic self is rising like a phoenix. This process is messy, uncomfortable, and sometimes lonely, but it's also the most important work you'll ever do. You're not just changing your life, you're reclaiming your soul. The woman or man who emerges from this transformation will be unrecognizable in the best possible way. You'll still be diplomatic, but from a place of strength rather than fear. You'll still value harmony, but not at the expense of truth. You'll still be caring and considerate, but you'll also be boundaried and self-respecting. The reason this transformation is happening now, at this particular moment in cosmic history, is because the world needs what you're becoming. We need people who can hold space for difficult truths while maintaining compassion. We need individuals who can navigate conflict without losing their humanity. We need those who can demonstrate that authentic power and genuine kindness are not only compatible, they're essential partners. Your personal transformation is part of a larger shift happening on our planet. As you learn to balance authenticity with diplomacy, individual needs with collective harmony, you're pioneering a new way of being that others will follow. This is your cosmic assignment, Libra, not to keep everyone happy at your own expense, but to show the world what it looks like to be both powerful and loving, both authentic and considerate, both individually sovereign and relationally connected. The universe has been preparing you for this moment your entire life. Every relationship that taught you about compromise, every conflict you mediated, every time you felt the pain of losing yourself in others' expectations, all of it was training for this cosmic graduation. Are you ready to step fully into who you're meant to be? The world is waiting for your authentic contribution, and the time for hiding behind false personas is over. Your Phoenix moment has arrived, Libra. Rise. Thanks for watching. Click here to check out another video.